Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alfany. As usual, big things are happening. I'll say this. Unfortunately, the rise of the new financial system is directly tied to the crashing of the old legacy system. And you're seeing the implosion of the legacy system right before your eyes. Everything is just falling apart for them. It's quite disgusting. But the new financial system is coming together beautifully and should act as a remedy, as a liquidity cushion, as a cushion of all different kinds, a life preserver of sorts, and theoretically could lead to generational wealth. They're going to need on-demand liquidity. That's patented. Keep that in mind. On-demand liquidity cannot be used by anyone else. Okay? They're going to need that. All of these systems that are being set up now, no matter the infrastructures that they use, will require on-demand liquidity. That was a genius thing that Ripple did by patenting on-demand liquidity. So they know that the banks are going to have to come to them. They knew that the banks will be on their knees and begging for the technology. And they are. They went, don't get me wrong, they went hard against the bank coins for quite some time. They tried to resist. They tried to find an alternative, but there was none. As I told you last year, I said all last year, they need what we have. How many times did I title a video like that? And now you're seeing they're coming over to our side. They will need an on-demand liquidity. They will use automated market makers because they will try to dominate DeFi. And with AMMs and creating liquidity pools, who's going to be better when you're creating liquidity pools than utilizing Algorand or XLM or HBAR? Think about that for a moment, right? The bank coins will be the last one standing. So with all that liquidity flowing, all that value flowing through the bank coins, what does it do to that price? This is logical. In the last video, we went over the numbers, did we not? You saw the trillions upon trillions of dollars. It will be, given time, everything happens in degrees. That is law. You don't just pop out of a womb and become an adult, do you? No, you don't. That's kind of funny thinking about that, though. Gotta take a moment to laugh, though. just picturing that in my mind, like a full grown person just popping out of a womb is hilarious to me. Anyway. Oh, man, I have a good laugh over some of the simplest things. I do. I enjoy life. However, what was I saying before? I lost my spot in the laugh. But nevertheless, all of that value, it will add up to quadrillions over time. That's where I stopped. Given everything happens in degrees, little by little, we are developing, not only developing, we're holders of systems that are going to change the world forever. Everything will be tied into the bank coins. You see them right now going after Ethereum. They're trying so hard to find a way to bring Bitcoin down, but they will not be able to go after the bank coins. We are in deep with all of the banks and all of the governments, from XDC to XRP to XLM. Do your own research. I mean, we provided a lot here on this channel, and the subscribers, some of the most brilliant people on the planet, by the way, and most of them are thriving. They put out information all the time, whether it's in the comment section or on Twitter. Brilliant subscribers here. So if you don't get information from myself, you definitely can get them from these subscribers on this channel. Second to none, hands down. But let's start here. Do you see this image here? I told you all these bank coins are working together, and yet you still see people talking about XRP versus XLM. Really, when Brad Garlinghouse and Denell Dixon have been on so many panels together, they might as well be partners. They might as well be partners. I mean, partners in business, of course. Then you see here, XDC Foundation posted this. Our own at Zenfin USA ran into someone at a coffee shop in San Francisco. Chance encounters. There is no chance. And here is, in this photo, people from XDC, Zenfin, and Brad Garlinghouse himself. This is not a chance encounter. Of course not. That's why they put it there. Just being a little bit comedic about this meeting. What was the meeting about? Everything's coming together. You have Quant, which already was bringing the XRP L and Zenfin under the same umbrella because of Overledger. And now you see XRP and XDC having meetings. You also know, because I showed you the documents, and some of you probably screenshot that, some of you may have known before I even showed you. Before I even put it on screen, you already knew, because some of you are on top of everything. You're great researchers. Don't ever let anyone tell you different either. You are great researchers out there. But you know that XRP already was in trade finance and had certain projects going on in trade finance. This was years ago. And what does XDC specialize in? Trade finance. That money is going to flow from XDC into XRP and vice versa. So smoothly, it will blow your mind. No one's going to know. Why? Because you're not supposed to see the engine of the car. The purchaser doesn't need to know how the engine of the car functions. It just needs to function. Most people are only looking at the outside of the car. Oh, it looks good. I'm going to buy me a Lambo. That's all they need to know. That money is going to flow very smoothly from one bank coin to the next. They are one interoperable. Have people forgotten about this? Sorry about that. I'm over here spitting all over the place while I'm talking. But have people forgotten? I see so many videos saying this coin versus this coin right now. And I've seen an explosion of FUD during this time where the coins have done a little bit better. Quant has been holding strong. XRP hasn't been doing too bad. But all this FUD lately, as though the people have forgotten that this is all about interoperability, which means what? What? For the coins that will be left standing, and if they have interoperability flowing one into the other, it is one system then. How is it? There is no separation. That's what interoperability means. You're witnessing the rise of the new system. You are witnessing the wealth. This is how it's going to get done. Trillions from trade finance flowing from XDC into XRP and back into XDC and into XLM. Cross-border remittances flowing one into the other. Any system can flow into any other system. It's genius how it was set up. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you have this here. Brad Garlinghouse at the coffee shop with XDC. It's starting to heat up, everyone. It's starting to get very, very intense. Not only that, have you bear witness to all of the central banks rapidly moving into their later phases of testing of their CBDC projects? The European Central Bank just moved into what was it, phase 2? Look how fast they moved. They were saying before, oh, we're going to take years and years to have results. They already put out a paper. Already. They're already dropping the research because it has to be combed over. They're going to have to shear some things up. They're moving rapidly. At this point, they're just going to hand us the money. Theoretically speaking, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not trying to sway you this way or that way. I'm after that bank money. That's why I talk about the banks. I want that bank money. We're going to take that bank money. We're so close to a touchdown. And yes, I'm going to spike the ball. Oh, yeah. I'm old school. Yeah, I'm real old school. Old school Deion Sanders, Barry Sanders. I even know about the ones before my time. Walter, Sweetness Payton. I'm going to do a little dance in the end zone. Yes, yes. We're so close. We have this little tweet here also. The XRP ledger. This is huge. I know. Most of the people out there are going to downplay it. They don't want to believe. That's perfectly fine. Don't need you to believe for that price to skyrocket. Don't need you to believe for the banks to buy everything up. That's the beauty of the bank coins. We don't need any retail to believe. Oh, it's so beautiful. Muy linda, mi gente. The XRP ledger is helping hashtag mint the moment at the Balmain Festival during Paris Fashion Week. The XRPL is making its power felt at Paris Fashion Week. That's huge. It says if you're currently in the audience, make sure to create your personal NFT by scanning the QR code when it appears on stage. We're going to dominate. It has the XRP ledger right there. So when the people are scanning and they say to themselves, what is this awesome technology that's allowing me to retrieve all of this information? There's no paper wasted. Instantaneously with the QR code. What is this? And it says it right there at Paris Fashion Week. XRP ledger. Do you know the big money that is at Paris Fashion Week? This is getting insane at this point. How easily we're dominating. I wanted to continue. I'm not mad at all. I'm quite happy. Oh man, this is insane. I'm loving it. Ripple has been doing a great job. Everybody that's been building on the XRP ledger has been doing a great job. This is huge in my humble opinion. I'm just sharing a little bit of my excitement. You don't have to feel excited also. I don't expect that. I'm not one of those people. Now, here's another article. This one here is on zcrypto.com. And it goes as such. I love to hear this. They're starting to see what's there. It's not even about believing. It's just about doing equations. That's it. Doing the math. All of the financial systems that are stand to use the XRP are XRPL and XRP. The functionality of XRP, which means that they all have to hold XRP in order to utilize on-demand liquidity. If you don't know about that, go to the ripples.com and check out their white papers. Read it for yourself, because those fudders will come to you and they will be in the comment section and they will write articles and try to tell you different. They will lie to you. But your own eyes should not be lying to you. You will read those things for yourself on ripple.com. They have to hold XRP. If you think they're going to hold a little bit, that is ridiculous. They're going to hold a lot of it. That price is going to explode, theoretically speaking. I mean, no guarantees, but that price is going to explode because they're holding so much of it. And XRP functions better at a higher price. There is no limitation on how high the price can go. The only determining factor of how high the price can go is what they will what they will tokenize. That's it. And there is no limitation to what can be tokenized. We're already tokenizing music, the value of music, right? We're tokenizing real estate. We're tokenizing debt. We're tokenizing payroll. We're going to be doing interbank payments, cross-border remittances. There's nothing in the history of the world that has ever been able to move that much value easily. And they have a patent for it. On-demand liquidity. They have a patent to loosen up all that extra money. So all that money from Nostro Vostro accounts will also be moving into XRPL. Are people not seeing it? You know, it doesn't even matter. The banks see it. That's why it's so few XRP holders. So few. There's a tiny little bit. I have a laugh anytime somebody says, whoa, the banks, they wouldn't allow people to get, what do you mean allow? Like, it just happens. There's a balance to life. There's a balance to everything. They can't control everything. You are giving them way too much credit, thinking that they can control everything. And they won't care. They're going to be so mind-blowingly wealthy and rich. They're not caring that a handful of XRP holders are also going to be wealthy. So now, this article here on zcrypto.com says, XRP price eyes ultimate explosion to new all-time highs if Ripple takes major win over SEC. Also, let me put in there, listen, look how, first of all, people already became millionaires before off of XRP when it first exploded. Right? Just like people made a ton of money off of Algorand last year when it exploded. They got that at a low. Then it exploded. People made a ton of money off of that. Quant, same thing, right? So if you look at Bitcoin, did anyone allow them? But you can control. Listen, if you think institutions aren't the ones that are moving the Bitcoin price, I don't know what to tell you. If you don't think that, did they allow the Bitcoin people to get rich? No, the Bitcoin people just got rich. Simple as that. There are certain rules that have to be abided by, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. At the top, there's no rules whatsoever. However, they have to come to the middle to keep up appearances. They must keep up appearances. So they necessarily have to come to the middle, right? So this is retail. This is the elite, right? They have to sort of meet in the middle when you're doing all of these deals and trades and such. It's a beautiful thing. And in the middle, there's certain rules, right? So they can make money. Those who are wise from retail can also make money. That's sort of how it goes. There's a natural balance to everything. And then as you see, once they've made their money, they retreat back to their so-called heights, and the retail does whatever they do. That's how it works. And the same thing will happen with XRP, only it will be very, very different. Because unlike, I think, in no disrespect to the Bitcoin people, I believe that unlike the Bitcoin people who got rich, they got rich, but rich is nothing. That's why you see a lot of rich Bitcoin holders still working, right? They're still running a business. They're still like, they're still doing some things. That's not wealth. They're looking for wealth. So unlike the Bitcoin people, I don't think that the XRP people are just going to be rich. I think they're going to be wealthy. There's a difference. There's a difference. For generations, you have money and your money is making money. You don't work anymore. You don't run a business anymore. Not unless you just want to. You want to occupy your time. When you're wealthy, you don't have to do that. Your money makes money. Easily so. Just borrow off the interest. Just use the interest. That's it. Oh, man. Muy lindo, man. That's why I perceive. And not just for XRP holders. But if things go according to plan, no guarantees, of course, everything is risky. This is not financial advice. But I see the same thing happening for a few XLM holders, HBAR, Algorand. And I say that because some people have a ton of that. Remember, if things do skyrocket, obviously there's a direct correlation to how much you hold and how much you're going to be making. How much, so if you have one XLM is going to be different, or XRP is going to be different, what the capital that you're going to receive from that explosion than somebody who has 100,000. That's just the way that it works. So, and you have to clarify that because I see a lot of comments that seem like people don't quite understand that. Some people have been holding for a long time. They've been accumulating the entire time. They have so much of these coins you wouldn't even believe. That's why I often repeat, it doesn't take a crazy price at this point. It doesn't. Although I do believe there's the potentiality for these coins to reach insane prices, but over time, we still have a while. Now, let's continue on here. This is from beincrypto.com, and it goes as such. U.S. recession confirmed. S&P slumps 2% on open and Bitcoin follows. Listen, didn't I say this long ago that we were already in a recession? That, in fact, we had moved past a recession. And here they're only admitting to technical recession. Oh, well, I guess that's different. Technical recession. This is so... They have to phrase it this way so they don't have pie on their face from when they said that we were not in a recession and they changed the definition of a recession, sort of like they changed the definition of something else before. We've seen this. This is so strange that people are allowing them to change the definition of anything. What is should be, so that we all have a clear understanding of what is in actuality, not what you want it to be in your imagination. Because whether they imagine that a recession is different or not, the people are going to suffer. You see what I'm saying? Their imaginations, their imaginations and their machinations doesn't change the reality. So you can imagine all you want, but the people are still going to get crushed, as you see now is happening. By the way, I'm going to be doing another members only video. You want to watch that one? I'm going to be putting that out either tonight or tomorrow morning. You definitely want to watch that one. It's going to be very, very potent in my humble opinion. Now, let's read this little tidbit. In a confirmation of what analysis, sorry about that, I misread. In a confirmation of what analysts had long suspected, the Bureau of Economic Analysis, BEA, reported that the U.S. fell into technical recession in the second quarter of 2022. You don't say. We here in the Bankcoin family have been telling the people this all year. And in fact, I have been saying that we have crossed from recession into deceleration. And deceleration is taking us into a depression. I showed in one of the recent videos, I don't remember if it was the members only video or the regular one, but I showed all the layoffs that have been happening. And that was just a tiny little bit. If you're going to be crushing the economy with interest rates, and on top of that, people are losing their jobs left and right. But that's funny how the news media is not telling everyone that. Isn't that interesting? The news media that everybody trusts so much is not telling the people that these companies are laying off workers by the thousands. I showed you the proof. I showed you the actual articles. That's a depression. And here's the other thing. You want to watch that members only video I'm about to put out. Trust me on this. And that's another thing. It's something strange going on. And it tells me that maybe all of this is being done on purpose. We're getting closer and closer to just confirming that outright. As I said before, you can wait for something to happen to the house that you rule over. It's not necessarily the house that you live in, right? I'm using this sort of drawing a line from that to like the world economies, right? So it's not a house that you live in, right? If you're an elitist, you can pretty much escape the matrix. But you have to maintain this house. But you know this house is not going to last forever. So do you wait until it collapses on its own, or do you make it partially collapse so you can rebuild the structures that you see fit or you deem necessary to rebuild to strengthen it so you can live a little bit better, and not a little bit better, but so you can thrive like never before, have control and power like never before? Do you wait on something natural to occur to bring down your empire, or do you bring it down yourself so you can control the collapse? I would say it's better to have a controlled collapse, in my humble opinion. I'd rather be in control of how everything goes down so that I can also be in control in the building up of these things. I know exactly what went wrong because I caused it. And then I can repair that. And the people will praise me for it because they don't know that I'm doing it. Next members only video, definitely check this one out. It's going to be a good one. Trust me on this. Okay, so now they're confirming we're in a recession. Let's move on here. So, Cointelegraph.com has an article here titled ECB reports on digital euro validation. Privacy 1 year into investigative phase. Let's scroll down here, read this little tidbit here. The European Central Bank Eurosystem Digital Euro Project's 2-year investigative phase has reached its halfway point. The ECB published a progress report September 29th that looked at the design and policy issues that are under consideration or have been decided because they're going to have to rework everything. The report said commerce in physical stores and online is the biggest use case for a Euro Central Bank digital currency. Do you believe that? You believe that? Okay, let me say this. So this is what they're putting out. Now, just based on the fact that most of the people who are mouthpieces for the central bank seem to have a problem with lying and misdirection, they like to misdirect for a variety of reasons. In my humble opinion, you don't have to agree with me. Based on that, I would say that most of the time they're pointing you in this direction when something in this direction is going on. So now they're saying something that, if you've been reading bank documents for a long time, seems absolutely ridiculous. Balderdash. That's what this is. I like that word. I remember when I was little, I was about to say when we're little, I don't know how old you are, but there was a game. You remember that game? There was a game called Balderdash, right? I like those words. Balderdash, poppycock. I like that. Means nonsense. I think. I think I'm completely wrong on balderdash, but poppycock means like nonsense. But anyway, guys are distracting me out there. So here, yes, the misdirection. So they're telling the people that the biggest use cases are commerce in physical stores and online. No. The biggest use case is for them to be able to, quote unquote, and like they said in their recent documents, bank the unbanked, which means what? They will be able to, with these CBDCs, tap into revenue streams that they did not have access to before. That's trillions of dollars that they didn't have access to before. They already have access to, commerce in physical stores and online, that type of capital. They already have access to that. That's nothing new. But what is new? The ability to reach corridors and individuals who have value, but they were unbanked. So their money wasn't flowing through the traditional system. Now they will be able to access that. You see what I'm saying? It's misdirection. But they said this in their own documents recently. We read them. And they were talking all about banking the unbanked, sounding a lot like Stellar XLM, weren't they? Yeah. That's the biggest use case. Banking the unbanked, which translates to they're going to be able to tap into trillions of dollars they weren't able to tap into before. So, but this shows that they're rapidly rushing towards a CBDC. But why? Because the new system is failing. There's so many holes in the ship. They don't have long before there is a complete collapse. Now, they can do something about it, like I said a myriad of times. And they're trying, but they're scrambling now because they didn't do the proper work and take the proper time. So now there's a mad rush. when they should have been looking into this 6, 7 years ago, but they were arrogant. As is usual, they were arrogant and they did not want to do the proper research. They were lazy and they were being ignorant and they were partying, flying around in their private jets. You don't believe me? Look at all the galas they go to. Like, if you look at all the things that they do, you ask yourself, when do they work? Now, keep in mind, they're not just like, they're not the wealthy of the world. Like, they're workers. They're central bank people. So yes, they do have some value, but at the same time, they're supposed to work. So I'm trying to draw a separation between the people where they're wealthy and they don't have to own businesses anymore. Their money is making money for them in a variety of ways, right? Or they can just sit on generational wealth and it was handed down to some people. They don't have to do anything. That's not like a central banker. They're supposed to be doing work. So when do they do work? They've been arrogant and lazy. They've been partying. This is why they barely understand anything. They're not reading the documents. Have you called the central banks lately? Because I have. Have you spoken to your politicians lately? Call them and let them know how you feel. Have you heard how they speak? You respect that? You respect that type of intelligence? Well, I'm gonna let you have your own experiences. I'm not gonna. You're gonna have to call, and you'll see. It's like talking to children. They barely have any patience, and that's for the intellectual. Can you imagine someone who may not be as eloquent, speaking to them, how they might treat those individuals? How are they making laws? How are they making monetary policy? And that's the thing that really gets me, is because they have fumbled the monetary policy. You heard Kristalina Georgieva. I love to say this. Thank goodness Kristalina Georgieva said what she said, or we wouldn't have a central bank head backing up what I'm saying now and backing up what many others are saying, that the central banks fumbled everything. They messed up. They were like children. They didn't understand what was going on. And I believe you even heard some officials in the U.S. government iterate the same things, but I just don't remember who that was. So I can't reference them. So yes, so now they have to rush to put out the digital euro, and that's going to be wonderful for XRP, XLM, and Quant. Who else is working on the digital euro? Who's on the digital euro association? Is XDC on the digital euro association? I don't think so. I think it's just Quant and XRP. But we also know Stellar is deep in Europe also, because they were working with the oldest bank. Sorry about that. I'm choked off my spit. The oldest bank in Europe. That's going to carry a lot of weight. So Stellar is in there also, right? And so that's going to be wonderful for them. The ECB Governing Council has approved exploration of online payments validated by a third party as part of its first digital euro release. All right, so we will probably cover this more at a different time. Let's move on to another article here. So the SEC has been going insane. As I told people earlier this year, and I said this, they don't need to defeat Ripple. And even if they don't defeat Ripple, they were going to go after everyone like a pit bull. Remember, I've been saying that a lot. And I also said earlier this year that crypto should come together and fight the SEC together all at once. Fire all your bullets all at one time. And they didn't do it. Now, today, you have a bevy of companies the SEC has announced they're going after. SEC charges crypto firm Hydrogen Technology with selling unregistered securities. Then in another article here, SEC alleges fintech and market maker firms manipulated crypto market and token scheme. They are going after everyone. And maybe some of these things are legit. Who's to know? But I just know that they have been unleashed and they are going after everyone that they can. It's been unbelievable what the SEC has been allowed to do. And still, with all of this, no clarity. No regulatory clarity. You've even had governmental officials ask them to issue clarity, and they couldn't. They've asked them for certain criteria. They couldn't give it, or they refused to give it. Something's wrong with that picture. And once again, I ask, who's going to do something about it? It's unbelievable. And you know what? This is one of the reasons why the West is sinking. It's a sinking ship. This is why people are trying to get rich very fast, and then they're leaving the West en masse. They're going to greener pastures. They see that other economies are going to be dominating and taking over, and they're just better to live in. They're more peaceful. The real estate is better priced, is more beautiful. Like everything is better. Well, at least when you have certain amount of value, right? So a lot of big money has been leaving the United States because of this. They're literally destroying the United States and Europe. And it's their own central banks and governmental officials doing it. It's them. It's unbelievable. Things like this. The West could thrive with these new technologies, but instead they're trying to crush them. Now, don't get me wrong. The bank coins are going to explode. They're going to thrive. But just think about all of the other projects that are pretty solid projects. They're pretty good, but they're going to get demolished by the SEC. Shouldn't they have an opportunity, a chance? That's what I'm saying. So it only leaves the opportunity for those wise ones who hold the bank coins, and then the banks and governments themselves. That's it. Those three parties to come by way of this insane wealth that stands to come in like a tsunami, right? And then all the other projects get absolutely demolished and destroyed. You see how that works? That's what it's looking like here. This is why the SEC has been unleashed. They're being allowed to do this. Nobody's standing up to them. So now let's go here. Swift partners with Chainlink to build token infrastructure. Now you're going to see a lot of people come out. Oh, Swift is working with Chainlink, and Swift is doing nothing. This means nothing. Who's going to use Swift in the future? It's a weapon. It's a weapon. And now all these countries are at war with each other. Yeah, it's a war. It's a different type of war, but it's definitely war. The BRICS nations are not going to be using Swift, and they're on the rise. And coming up with their own systems, which are going to be backed with minerals or some type of precious metal, something like that. Who's going to use Swift? What? United States and Europe? Oh man, let me break out my wallet. Come on, it's over for Swift. They're done for. They're finished. They haven't been fair. They've been utilized as a weapon. And I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be partnering with anybody that is hostile towards me. A system that has been utilized to harm me. I would not want to utilize that system ever again, especially if there's the advent of a new system rising where it's fair across the board. No one has an unfair advantage, and they won't if they're coming up with a decentralized system. It's not going to happen. So Swift is done for. It's over. So it'll whimper on and limp on for a little bit longer, but the de-dollarization of the world is directly linked to the downfall of Swift. The petrodollar is over. It's finished. It's done for. So that's what I think about that. This is meaningless, means nothing. When it comes to cross-border remittances, I expect XLM, XRP to absolutely dominate, Algorand to absolutely dominate. That's how I see it. Because the people will leap at the opportunity to use these things. They don't have to set up infrastructures. Infrastructures are set up for them. It's cheap, fast, on-demand liquidity. You have automated market makers on Stellar. You can create your own liquidity pools if you should desire. And I do think a lot of large institutions, once they step in, yeah, they're going to create liquidity pools. Why would they not? And that means there's going to be a lot of Stellar being used. You have to utilize that XLM, I believe, for the liquidity pools. Even if you don't, every account has to have a minimum of lumens. They're not just going to hold a minimum of lumens. They're going to hold a bunch of lumens because they want to see a profit off of Stellar. See a profit off of XLM. It's just in my humble opinion. Then on top of that, with all that congestion, that network is going to be so congested. That's a fact. So congested. That surge pricing is going to be constant if everything goes according to plan. And with surge pricing, that price is going to go up. XLM is used for transaction fees. That price is going to go up. And you have all these companies sort of, and I think it's expedient to say secretly building on Stellar because you have Velo merging with EveryNet, merging with LightNet. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you hear about that on the news or anywhere? Anybody floating those tweets around? No, they just did it. They're all connected to Stellar Foundation, or rather the for-profit wing of Stellar, which was Interstellar. They're all connected. Jed McCaleb on Interstellar, then Jed McCaleb in Velo, then Jed McCaleb in LightNet as an advisor, then Jed McCaleb at EveryNet. Come on, now stop. You don't see what's happening? And they've held back on their announcements. You think that they don't have announcements they're going to be making? You think that? I don't believe that. They're sitting on them. Don't get me wrong. They've exploded in information coming out as of recent. That's nothing. That's nothing. They're sitting on these announcements. They have non-disclosure agreements signed. Just like Ripple. Ripple has NDAs, but soon those NDAs are going to be up. That's why they said we're going to have some announcements in the future. They're sitting on them. Their deals are already done. And I'm telling you now, when Ripple, and I'm going to jump on to Ripple real quick. When Ripple makes their announcements, just like Algorand, same thing. When they make those big announcements, those prices, you see what's happening now? Just off speculation, those prices are going to explode like you wouldn't believe. Just my humble opinion. It's my humble opinion. Let's go here. This is a tweet from Denell Dixon. As a leader, I'm always fascinated to learn what turns a good business into a great business. Executive chair of the board of Deloitte. How do you pronounce this? Deloitte? Okay, Deloitte. I'm going to go with that. Executive chair of the board for Deloitte US at Janet Futile shares how the company addresses bias to move the organization forward and how adapting to change leads to greater success. It says, listen to the latest episode. Okay. This is one of the reasons why Denell Dixon is so good at what she does and why she's everywhere. She doesn't have to be everywhere. She could send someone else to do it, but don't need to send someone else to do it. She closes deals the best, is the most eloquent, and brings in the people that want to talk. You saw how when they were sitting on that that panel, then one of those governmental officials later was like, okay, we'll talk more later. I want to know more about it later. Exactly. She closes the big deals. It reminds me a lot like Stacey Wharton. They close the big deals. Brad Garlinghouse closed the big deals. They're always learning. They're always growing. You see the adjustments taking place. This is why I tell people all the time, you have to adjust, adapt, and win. Adapt and survive. And they are highly adaptable individuals. This is one of the reasons why the bank coins are thriving while everyone else is just, they're expanding their businesses while everyone else is just shrinking and getting crushed. Because the individuals like this, you have to know who's running a company. If you have, how can I phrase this without being too harsh? If you have people that are not that good running your company, the company, no matter how good the technology is, will not do well. They have to have a fire in their belly. They have to have intelligence. Denell Dixon has been growing, adapting, and has been just doing a fantastic job everywhere that she has been. So I have a great deal of respect for this. This is great. These connections, like with the chair of board of Deloitte. Look at the people. Look at the companies that they've been associating with. They had the head of the CFTC at Meridian. Unbelievable times we live in, everyone. I have to continue to say that. So then you have this other tweet here. This is from @StellarOrg, and it says how blockchain and crypto are changing the game for social impact. I want to add on to that. They're changing everything. Those NFTs are going to be so massive. Now, also another thing I want to say is like, so you see how they have some real estate NFTs on, not NFTs, but they have like some real estate tokens on Ethereum. They have quite a few actually. I anticipate a lot of things will move from Ethereum. You already see it happening. You already saw Algorand build certain bridges or something like that where you could come over from Ethereum to Algorand. And I think they did that with Solana also, didn't they? So you can come over from Solana. Remember they were having those problems? You could come over from Solana onto Algorand. They're going to be doing the same thing with Stellar. Look at Stellar has some of the cheapest fees ever. You think people are not going to take advantage of that? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. They will be coming over to Stellar, XRPL from Ethereum, from a lot of those other non-bank coins. They will come over to the XRPL, real estate tokens, there will be security tokens in the future on XRPL, on Stellar, if there's not already. I don't claim to know everything. Like I know that, like for instance, I know LCX has security offerings, security tokens and such, but I don't know about them on XLM, XRP, but they will be. That's huge money. Huge money. And like I said, the beautiful part about it, muy lindo, mi gente. The beautiful part about it is that that value will flow from Stellar into XRP, XRP and Algorand, back and forth. One interoperable network, one new financial system, generational wealth. And I'm ready for it. So let's go here. Close out with a little bit of Algorand news. Quote, we quickly realized at Vlasso's vision of building a fresh new social online music service centered around connecting artists and fans in new ways. And leveraging hashtag Web3 tech aligns perfectly with where we see Napster heading. More growth of Napster within Algorand. On Algorand. I told you they've been dominating when it comes to music. It's unbelievable what they're doing. So they have LimeWire, they have Napster, then they have that other offering. I can't remember what it was called. It started with a D. I can't remember it, but Algorand is taking over a certain portion of music. Now, when people see how cheap it is to move their NFTs, now keep in mind, listen, you make a few cents off of a stream. A few cents off of a stream. With an NFT, my goodness, you can sell your music NFTs for thousands of dollars. Who's going to turn that down? Now, if you remember with LimeWire, people were just posting all types of music. Now they can post that music, I would think, with a price on it. So the artists themselves can use the LimeWire and post the music themselves as an NFT with a certain price on it. They're going to make thousands of dollars. Algorand's price is going to explode. And they're getting in early when it comes to music. I don't see any other blockchain doing this. Algorand is brilliant beyond measure. I can't wait for that price to explode. It's personally how I feel. All right, let's go here, man. Well, actually, we're going to close out with a little bit of XDC. Actually, here we go. Zenfin XDC network is now integrated with Nabo X Wallet, the multi-chain DID gateway to Web3. Nabox, I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it, will support all dApps and assets on XDC network. XDC is getting stronger and stronger. It's unbelievable how fast they're moving. They're not an old blockchain. They are so powerful. They have Overledger for XDC. You just saw, like I said, at the beginning of the video, you saw them meet with Brad Garlinghouse. They have all these connections with Corda. Trade finance. They were meeting with heads of governments recently over the summer. Look at what their price is. XDC, what is it? 2 cents, 5 cents? I don't know what it is. A few pennies. It's unbelievable. And people are getting a ton of XDC. When the large business institutions step in, all that money on the side steps in. When all those people from the world that respect the World Economic Forum and will take their recommendations, the World Economic Forum, when they put something out there, it's a recommendation. It's pointing their people in that direction. It's not for retail. It's not for the regular commoner of the world. Not at all. It's for all those presidents who are a part of the World Economic Forum. The prime ministers who are a part of the World Economic Forum. The heads of banks that are a part of the World Economic Forum. Have you seen the list? I believe you can go on WEF.org, worldeconomicforum.org, and you can actually read the list. Not only that, they have a brother organization, if you don't know, that is directly tied to the World Economic Forum that pretty much does the same thing, but just on it's like a level down with even more. I read the list recently. And I believe they have a link from the worldeconomicforum.org to that website. There's so many world leaders that are a part of the World Economic Forum. So when you see that they're talking about XDC, they had an entire page written about XDC. And they have one recently written about LCX, calling it a bank before it even becomes one fully. When you see them talk about Stellar, Algorand, XRP, Cello, it's a recommendation. So those coins, in my humble opinion, for a myriad of reasons, we'll see how this plays out. We'll see how it plays out. No guarantees, of course. I could be wrong. But I believe that given all the data, all the actual information we can take in, I believe I'm on the right track. But we shall see. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.